cooperative society. Now cooperative comes from the word cooperation, and cooperation means what? Cooperation means working together with some another person, adjusting with them with some common purpose, isn't it? So a cooperative society is a voluntary association of persons who have moderate means and they unite together to protect and promote their common economic interests. Clear? So first let us understand voluntary association of persons. Why is it voluntary? Because it can be joined by the person only if he wishes to join it. Okay, there is no compulsion or there is no forcing to any person to join these cooperative society. It totally depends upon the free wish of the person. If he wants, he can join, and thereby it's a voluntary association. Okay, now understand moderate means. Why moderate means? Because people who join these cooperative societies or people who form these cooperative societies, they actually have certain limitations as in limited opportunities in life. Okay, so what they think of coming together, they think of uniting together to do what? To promote and protect their common economic interests. Clear? Okay, now let us understand the features, thereby it would help to make your concept more clear. The first one, as we have just read, it's a voluntary association. Why is it a voluntary association? Because people have no compulsion to join this. It is totally free to join, it is totally free to leave. Just that you have to give a proper notice. Clear? Next one, legal status. Now, as in partnership, we read that registration was not compulsory, but over here we see that it is compulsory. And under which act do they have to get registered? Please note down in your copies. They have to get registered under the Cooperative Societies Act 1912. I repeat, the cooperative society is compulsorily required to be registered under the Cooperative Societies Act 1912. Okay? Now this registration gives it a separate legal identity. That means it has an identity, it has everything different from that of its owners. The owners are different and the cooperative society is different. The cooperative society can enter into contracts in its own name. It can file case against another person. Okay? It is not affected by the entry or exit of its members. It has its separate legal entity. It has a separate identity in the society, which is distinct from its members. Okay? Next point, limited liability. Now, limited liability means that their liability would be limited to the extent of their capital contribution in the society. In case they have a liability of say 1 lakh rupees, okay, but in the cooperative society, that person, Mr. X, he has only a share or a capital contribution of 40,000. So he will be liable to pay only 40,000. The rest 60,000 he would not be liable to pay. Is it okay? This is the meaning of limited liability. That how much capital I am contributing in the society, that amount only will be my maximum liability amount. I can never be liable to an amount exceeding that. Okay? Clear? If I have contributed 30,000 throughout my membership, I can be liable only to amount up to 30,000, never more than that. Okay? Next, democratic control. Now what is democratic control? The power to take decision actually is in the hands of a managing committee. Now how is that managing committee elected? The managing committee is elected by vote. Every normal member has one vote irrespective of the number of shares held by him. Suppose there are 10 persons, okay? 2 of them want to become a part of the managing committee. So the rest 8 of them, what they will do, they have each one vote with them. They will put their votings and the one who wins will become a part of the managing committee. Clear? And this managing committee takes decision on the behalf or for the cooperative society. Okay, I read out what's written here. The management and control lies with the managing committee. And how is this managing committee elected? They are elected by the members through the voting process. Every member has one vote irrespective of the number of shares held by him. That means even if one person has 10 shares, another person has 50 shares, does not matter. One person will have one voting right with him. Okay. Next one is service motive. Now the main aim of the businesses that we have learned is profit earning, isn't it? But for cooperative societies, it is not profit earning, it is providing service to its members. Okay, and the last one is distribution of surplus. Surplus in the sense profit. Whatever profit if it earns, okay, that profit will be distributed among its members. Clear? The profit is distributed on the basis of volume of business transacted by the member and not on the basis of capital contribution of the members. That means whatever business each individuals are performing, they might earn some profit. Rather, they do not have a profit motive. That is why they are distributing the profit. If they had profit motive, would they distribute the profits? No, they would have kept it with themselves. But as because they have a service motive, so whatever profit they earn through this society, they distribute among the rest of the members. Clear? So these were all the features or characteristics of cooperative society. So that is all for today. We'll meet you in the next video. Thank you.